Hi, my name is Gisele. I'm originally from Palm Beach, Florida. So I do go to school at NC State University, studying agricultural science with a minor in horticulture. The research that I was doing here with the Aspire program was with the weed ecology and biology lab, specifically looking into the use of UAV or drones in predicting agricultural yields and measuring weediness of different cash crops like corn. Something I learned about food and agriculture in North Carolina specifically this summer was just how diverse the growing potential is in the state of North Carolina. Um, the From the mountains to the coast of the beach, there's just such a different variety, uh, which I learned this summer of soils and how they react to different crops. So it was so interesting to see the diversity from, your typical cash crops like the tobacco and corn to, really niche produce like beans and watermelons and see the different scales that people grow those produce in North Carolina. North Carolina agriculture compared to where I am from South Florida, is so different. My agricultural background before this internship, surprisingly, was just in like the animal sciences. I worked at a horse ranch when I was younger. I lived near like horse showing arenas and stuff like that. So I never even touched a plant until my undergrad at NC State. So like outside of, gardening here and there, really researching and looking into like what it takes to run a farm. The main difference that I noticed from previous experience to agriculture in North Carolina was how community-based and focused farming is. It's such a like interwoven, interconnected kind of like world of its own where growers and farmers help each other, whether it be with equipment, whether it be with different herbicide treatments that they know work. They like to share that information. So that was different from what I experienced in previous agricultural settings in Florida. People can get a little like hush hush about their techniques and aren't as open to like sharing. So it was a great contrast to have just such a community-based system in agriculture here in North Carolina. I decided to be an intern with Seth's because I was so interested and excited about getting hands-on research experience. I had some previous research experience in my undergrad, but it was very basic pipetting, wet lab stuff. So I was excited to hear about the opportunities to do both in-lab research as well as applied in-field research. So that is when I heard about the Aspire program having that merging of research, extension, and a little bit of the education piece, I was really excited to get what felt like a very diverse experience in the like food systems and agroecology world. I heard about the Seth's Aspire program through our CAL's program coordinator's email blast. So I was able to kind of get, I guess, a little bit ahead of the curve because as soon as they dropped the application, our director's advisor, Desiree, sent out an email and that's kind of where I started reading into it. So this internship supports my future career in education because it offered a stepping stone into finding out if research is something that I am capable of, or finding out if research is something that I can find passion in. And I've discovered through this internship that it's something that actually comes very naturally to me. The analytical side of my brain was definitely tested this summer, and the Inspire internship really supported me to branch out and try new things and try new forms of thinking as well to get to different goals. So it was very eye-opening and it's just kind of opened up the world of possibilities of different careers in agriculture. I see myself in the roles of food systems as being some form of an educator or facilitator, if that makes sense. The role of agriculture that I'm most excited about is the community part, the community aspect of agriculture really excites me. So I am most interested in sharing as much that I learn about agriculture with the wider community. So both in like a professional setting as well as just, casual social settings, getting people interested in committing to that home garden that they might have always talked about, or trying to, grow their own food in a small scale, and really sharing the knowledge that that is possible on any scale that you're afforded. You can look into, cultivating, growing, and just being a part of your very own food system. So with the Aspire internship, I think that it has only heightened that role of being the facilitator and educator in my community, to just bring on as many people as possible to gain some interest in agriculture and what it means to grow food. The best part of the internship, I would have to say, was definitely working closely with my faculty and graduate student mentors, and my postdoctoral mentors. It was amazing to just make connections with people in the field of agriculture that come from such varied backgrounds, and had such different timelines of like how they got there. I loved learning from my faculty mentors about like experiences at different conferences or working at different universities, and how NC State and CEF does things differently, and really comparing like what it means to like have good mentorship or productive mentorship that really centers the student, intern, person learning at kind of the forefront. And I felt that was 100% my experience. So I definitely can say that the best part of the Aspire internship was the people I got to work with, from fellow interns to my faculty. They really made the world of difference, as well as all of the experts that came in and gave us lectures and did tours for us. It was just an amazing experience to learn so many new things from people. Before I did the SEP's Aspire program, I had minimal prior research experience. So I was a little nervous getting that acceptance, but it just kind of reinvigorated me to come to the table like ready to learn and enthusiastic, and offerable. I was so like fortunate and just like felt very supported throughout the time in the internship, that my lack of knowledge was not a push or a detriment at all. People were very willing to like, show me procedures and help me learn along the way. So small amount of research experience before the Aspire internship, but that didn't stop me from learning a lot. The role of agroecology in that meeting the current needs for agriculture in this day and age is acknowledging that it's going to take so many different disciplines working together to come up with a effective as well as long-term sustainable solution to solve the world's issues surrounding agriculture, yields, climate change. So I think agroecology plays a huge part in bringing these different systems together to answer and kind of work on the hardest, most dire issues that kind of our agricultural system is facing. Specifically, my research with UAB drones can relate to the world of agroecology, kind of helping that system by giving it the opportunity to predict the yield data, getting that bird's eye view of agricultural fields, offer, especially the earlier in this growing season, offer so many agricultural variables in terms of like crop emergence, the natural weediness of the area, and it offers a good outlook on like what your crop yield is going to be at the end of the season. So I think there's a lot of good work happening in the UAV drone kind of sector of agriculture. So specifically, the use of drones and UAVs in agriculture, I think is very important in an agroecology sphere because it gives farmers the potential to predict yields and get that bird's eye view of their growing fields with, just a touch of a button. So saving time, these southern summers can get very hot. So I couldn't imagine like the strain that it takes for farmers to like walk their fields. You can get a UAV to fly it for you. So using that data that you could get from the images on drains offers so many valuable, agronomic values that we could see in terms of like yield predictions, weediness, and hopefully lowering herbicide use to treat the weediness that pops up in the field. So it's definitely a big part of making the growing season easier for producers. And I think it has even more research that can go into making it useful for different farmers. Using technology that is as advanced as like drones and UAVs can definitely seem intimidating to your average farmer or grower. And I think the important thing about the research that I was able to do with Inspire this summer is see where the accessibility of that technology can be offered to your average growers. So something that I was able to see this summer actually by working with CES and Aspire is how important North Carolina Extension is in the agricultural space. So I've had the ability to sit in on a drone workshop with Extension agents and kind of bring this technology to the forefront of, tools that they can use for farm visits, assessing agricultural problems, and I was amazed to find just like how excited extension agents and growers were that this technology is becoming more and more accessible. A lot of these new technological advancements have a high sticker price tag on it and a question mark in terms of how valuable is this data really? So with the use of UAV and drones, the thing that excites me the most about why or how this type of technology can be accessible to farmers is that there's such a large spectrum of different types of UAV drones that can be used to do more or less the exact same thing. Now, the scale goes from like low to high end quality, but that mid-range versus high end or that low versus high, very comparable in the data that you can get from especially agronomy crops like corn, your soys, your cottons. And as something that I also learned over this summer working with the Aspire program and the Weed Ecology Lab was there are more and more companies coming out with more and more affordable drones. So this is definitely a type of technology that does not have to be intimidated by that high sticker price tag, and is accessible to more introductory growers. So from small to large scale, we're not just seeing, 100-acre farms benefit from taking drone images, as a 2-acre farm can also get very, interesting agronomic values that they can kind of get just off of 2 acres as well. So I think there is room for growth for both sides of accessibility to this type of technology.